All right, and welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, July 11, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Lots of winners in the books today, too, in service, so congratulations to members there. And one of them being one that I've been talking about for a while, and this is one that I've also given out here in the public videos. So I give out some freebies every now and then, but RTY, massive winner here for both services, both swing and day trading. We had some positions in the Russell here, and told you guys earlier this week that I had a buy signal on it on Tuesday. I said it didn't have to break out on Tuesday. It could do it when on CPI, and that thesis that I've talked about is certainly playing out here. And what is that thesis? That is semis pulling back and money going into the Russell and the Dow. This is a breakaway gap. It's a breakout gap. This is one of the most violent ones too, because you have volume behind it, and it does not give sellers a chance to cover, right? Especially if you're long put, you got blown up on the open, right? So those puts, anybody who's long puts, especially for next Friday, is getting roasted here in the IWM. Now there is GEX. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but I did post it on Twitter. You can check that. At 215. So we could see that by next Friday, but my target for the Russell here is right around 220, 225. I think that happens here in the summertime. Now, what's going on here? Well, we had CPI, and we had the first negative month-over-month print since 2020. Outside of that, it was weaker than expected, but it wasn't like a huge miss. You can talk about the BLS fudging the numbers. Yeah, maybe they did. They probably did. But you got that nonetheless, and what happens here is short sellers off sides, and a lot of hated things are rallying today, right? So things that have been beaten down lately. Look at XHB up 5.6, VNQ commercial real estate up 2.5, KRE, we talk about this every day, 4% gain. That's a breakout there. KBE, I've been telling you guys I have buy signal on this too on the weekly. That has never gone away. Got it on the monthly there as well. I think that goes to 52. So again, look at the breadth here. This is the S&P 500. What's down today? Chips, everything Mag 7 related. Hell, even Eli Lilly, which is it's not Mag 7, but it's a high flyer and it's a mega cap, is down. You're also seeing a little bit of pullback, a little bit more of a pullback in cloud. Another thing we took some profits on recently. So lots of winners in the books here. But again, that's what's down today. NASDAQ 100 there, taking a pretty big hit. Look at the Russell. Bright green all over. A couple of reasons. A, because of short sellers being off sides. Another reason is just deleveraging in general. But also, again, dispersion, right? If something's down, something else is going to be up. And again, I know I harped on this, but this is, I say it for a reason. If I told you NVIDIA was down 4.5, Apple was down 2, Microsoft was down 2.5, Google was down 2.5, Netflix down 4, Broadcom down 2, Meta down 4, Amazon down 2.8. You tell me the market's crashing, or at least all the geniuses on Twitter would be telling me the market's crashing, it's over, this and that, the other thing, but it's not. And again, that's the dispersion at work here. The Dow is flat to positive, and the Russell is having an absolute mega surge here. Look at that candle on the RTY. I've been telling you guys I'm expecting this to break out, and that's definitely there. So long time coming. Congratulations if you were long for that. But really good move. Now for the spiders here, we do have an engulfing candle we're working on right now. It's 3:15. Doing the video a little early because we got the live stream for members just after the close. So getting this in a little early. I don't think there's much consequence if we go up or down here in the next 45 minutes. You're seeing the VIX get a little bit of a bit up here. There is some GEX at 56 or just shy of 56. I can show you right there. So it's been there all day. That's 55.90, 55.95, and then 56 here. So it's likely we close kind of within this range. So not expecting much deviation here. You're going to hear about this over and over and over all night tonight. Engulfing candles, it's over, crash, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you right here. I said, this is a bear trap. Buy the dip by the end of June, and that's what happened. Volume, do not ignore volume, especially in the SPY, because that's where long-term positions are held, not the futures. And look at this. So 34 million shares at 345. That is not anywhere close to distribution volume. We should be at 80 or 90 million by now if this was distribution volume. So we are pulling back. Not a lot of conviction from sellers right now. That doesn't mean it can't turn into conviction, but I don't see it right now. If we look at the NQ here, we're basically already 4-hour oversold, which is pretty remarkable considering where we were. There's the hourly, and you can see the ES as well touched that. So we are getting a little bit of a bounce now. Again, that doesn't mean we're not going to continue to pull back. I do think, when you break, one of the things I warned about in the trading room today is and recently is when I think I said it yesterday too in here, but when you go up and you don't make a single lower low for 5-6 days, usually the first support is not gonna pass. And we had a support right here around 56.15. I called it out. I said don't buy it, and that ended up being the right call here because the first couple of supports generally will get wrecked when you have a big surge like that. So in any case, markets here getting a pullback. We'll see if they save the engulfing by the end of the day on the SPX. Again, I don't think it's of much consequence. You do have an outside move on the Qs. I think technology is done for the time being, and we're going to see small caps here. I don't think you're going to see IWM pull back here. A, because of the volume, and B, because, like I said, this is a power gap. If you're short here, you're trapped, and that's the type of thing that can continue. So again, small cap summer, or at least the back half of it, I do think that is in play. I do think certain tech things will continue to rally. We might be looking at lower highs though, specifically for semiconductor names, possibly an NVIDIA. We may have a lower high there already. AMD, well, AMD is a catch-up play right now, so I'm not going to pick on that. But Broadcom, TSM, pretty good engulfing candle there. Again, no volume, but some of these things are very lofty, as you guys know. I don't need to tell you that. But in any case, right now, 55 area, well, we'll say 55.25. That's still going to be some near-term support. That's all the way down here. Again, we didn't really build much support on the way up, so if we do cut, we can slice pretty fast down to those lower levels, and then 55 is your big level here in the near term. So I'll be watching those pretty closely over the next week or so, but I don't see us going down a ton here before OPEX. When the Russell 2000 is bidding like this, you don't want to be short. So that doesn't mean you can't, day trade, or short tech in the short term, but from a bigger picture kind of macro sense, from swing sense, you don't really want to be shorting. This is a sign of strength, even if it is just short covering. It's telling you they're getting out of the way. So just be aware of that. Again, Q's down just under 2% here. We did clip 500 yesterday, so we got that out of the way, and now we're pulling back here. We're watching this trend line here too. We'll see. If we dip down to the 20 MA tomorrow, we probably get a really good bounce. We'll see what kind of price action we get in the morning. There is not a lot of economic data next week, but we do have tomorrow, we have PPI, and then we've got Michigan inflation. So that will be market moving. I don't know which way we're going to go. We just kind of topped out here. So even if it is a buy the dip, I would expect probably a lower high here at the current time, but I'm not really seeing this as a major sell signal, as I've said. Outside of tech and certain things that are really high flyers, again, looking at the volume, I'm not seeing distribution here, again, with the exception of certain tech names. So those are the levels I'm watching. Qs, you can watch that there. To watch that trend line, 480 is a whole round number. IWM, very close to a 52-week high here. And it doesn't even need to go up tomorrow. It just needs to knock an inside hammer on the daily would be fine. I'd be fine with that. If it breaks out, well, you get a weekly close above the high. By the way, everybody talks about breadth here, so let's talk about it. RSP, I told you to watch that. Failure yesterday, that happened. We got a good bid. We're up into this trend line. This is not a bear pattern. So you can talk about breadth all you want, but again, if it's doing this, right, and the spiders are doing that, then yeah, it's kind of serious, but it's not. It's a percent or two off all-time highs, right? It's putting in a bull wedge here. What about these patterns here is bearish? There's nothing bearish. This is the Q's equal weight. So just because you have breadth not being super robust doesn't mean that you should be fighting this tape. So be aware of that. RSP, good day. Dow holding up okay. Still watching this little wedge here. We'll see if that can get above that. Nothing else to say there. Semis we talked about. Good outside move. volume behind it. Saw distribution here, another higher high, maybe a bull trap there, and good volume. So I think semis are going to come in. Again, back half of July, first half of July, strong for tech. Back half is usually weak. So that seems to be pretty consistent. IGV, which I still like, this probably has to do some backing and filling. That doesn't mean it's not going higher. I think it will, but I think it needs to do some backing and filling. And you've got time to put in kind of like a cup and handle type pattern, which is kind of doing. But that did back off. Dow Transport's very good day. Outside move up 2%. Wiped out the last 4 days of price action, and very nice move. And that's with the Jets down. So Jets were down. They came off the lows. Maybe a false breakdown there. Watch this as well. Inverse head and shoulder there on the DJ. It's not the cleanest, but it's there. It's a trend line nonetheless. So if we can push through that, transports can go. I've talked to you about this too, and this is going to be, you want to see anger. You think people are mad now at this rally. If this becomes an ascending triangle, I mean, it is an ascending triangle, you're going to see real anger. So if you think the rally's hated now, just wait. All right, 2-year yield today, big breakdown. Rate cut odds up to 83% for September. Yield curve not really unwinding that much, though. It is upticking a little bit. Look at the 3-month 10-year. Going the wrong way. So I think this Fed funds futures market is total noise. I've kind of hinted at that. I've suggested that for like over a year now. I think that they have their heads up their ass, honestly, quite frankly. I just don't, they're talking about rate cuts. And I think personally, maybe I'm wrong, but I think personally the rate cut stuff is just posturing. It's just Fed speak. I think the bond market, I talked about this with Jason Shapiro. I think the bond market would freak out if they started cutting rates now. Unless the data really changes really quickly, which it can. But I think that 30-year would go ballistic, as with the 10s. But right now, pretty good sell. They do have some room. They now have 100 basis points of room, but they had that in the beginning of the year, and they didn't cut. So we'll see. And this is the 2-year. But yield's definitely coming in pretty sharply. Again, I told you guys I didn't like yields here. Thought they might go lower, and they did. 30-year, I'll say 420 for now. Look for that. And then 10-year, 4%. I don't think we're going much lower than that, though. So we'll see with PPI in Michigan tomorrow if they walk that back. Market's holding up here. IWM starting to inch up towards the end of the day. XHB we mentioned. So here's a dynamic I want to talk about. I said, look, watch for the failed bear flag. And that happened. Granted, it was a total trap. You couldn't, it was a gap and go. But there you go, right? This kind of pattern here, daily bearish, but you got to watch the weekly too, because the weekly is more dominant. It turned into a bull. So XHB, now all of a sudden it looks like it'd easily make all-time highs if they wanted. So home builder strong, VNQ strong. I've been telling you guys about this for a month, right? I said if this goes sideways here, watch for it to break out. There you go. XLRE, it's the same thing. Beautiful pattern here. By the way, we talked about Berkshire. We'll talk about Fins in a second. Look at this pattern on Berkshire. Starting to peak above that. And there's the XLF. I'm mentioning that because it makes up a huge chunk of XLF. XLF close to the highs. KRE on breakout. Beautiful. So I think that can go to 56, maybe 58. KBE can go to 52, 52.50, we'll say. Beautiful setup there on the weekly. Not once. If you guys have been following me, you guys know I've said this almost every single day here. This is a weekly inside bar pattern, and it can go higher when it wants to, and it has. And it's also a monthly too. So you have the larger time frames confirming each other. Always good. Broker dealers continuing up. New all-time high. Looks like we're going to get new all-time closing high. They did pull back a little bit though. Oil here. I haven't really watched oil too much today, but it held that inside bar on the daily. So I'm neutral on oil. I think seasonally is bearish for oil right now, but it's bullish on the chart. You're above the moving averages. I'd say it's neutral to bullish. It's not like super bullish here, but you have a bull inside bar. Maybe it can go higher. I'm not really playing it one way or the other right now. But I'll give oil the benefit of the doubt right now, unless it changes. XLE pretty good bid too. I said watch for higher low, and it's up 1%. I still would have liked it if it just got down here. It still might, but good move there. XOP same thing, higher low, good bid, and OIH, that's the one I like the best. That's working on another higher low too, up 2.25 essentially. CCJ, kind of a pause day after the big move yesterday. Nothing wrong with that. No problems. No problem with NM or NJ either. So those uptrends are still intact. Nat gas is kind of flirting with the lows here. So we had a local low and it essentially pierced without follow through. I don't know what it wants to do here. This is a tough one. It's wicked oversold, but that's kind of what nat gas does. I'm not certain if it wants to go down and pierce the low or not. It could. The fact that it didn't hold right here is a red flag though. So I'm no longer, personally, just so full disclosure, I'm no longer in this. But it's a little bit of a red flag that it didn't follow through off that low. I'll say that. Again, seasonally, should be starting to bottom kind of around here. I don't think there's a ton of downside left, but definitely not good to see it, to see it languish. It's holding the low for now, though. So again, I'll just be neutral on that at the moment. If you're short, just trail your stop because anything can set that off. So, dollar index here, look where it went. Right, beautiful, picture perfect, right? And this is still fine as long as it's above 103.88 on a weekly close. So dollar has been kind of quiet lately, just been in a range, but pretty good sell today, obviously, off the data. Yen, obviously a good bid there. And he hit off the highs and holding the 50 MA, though. I don't think this is really ready to go down, but pretty good slice there. Gold up with the data, obviously. So good move for gold bulls. And we talked about this yesterday. I think GDX was, hinting, right? Is that a fake print on G? No. Oh, okay. Interesting. So I wonder if somebody tried to short this and got smoked. Interesting. Well, gold, GDX holding up well. We talked about this little trend line break, and it looks good. And it was signaling that the CPI was probably going to come in soft. I think IWM was too yesterday. I mean, that's probably why I had the buy signal. Also, look at the RTY. Previous to that, it was starting to bid up ahead of time, so somebody knew. But either way, good move for gold. Is it going to go break out yet? I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't bet against it. I kind of have it more going towards August, but it's getting a bid now. Can't say anything wrong. And silver, I talked about 32 being resistance. That's where we pulled back. It's not major, but it's just short term. And then SIL, again, we talked about that yesterday, clearly getting front ran. So good move there. J as well, up 3.5 about. So good move for those miners. Platinum also up 1%. And palladium fractionally higher. Lastly, copper on the weaker side. So again, kind of responding to deflation. Just look at the CPI over the last forever, and you see there's no deflation. But in any case, I'm down 10 cents. It did roll over here. Let me check the fit. I think it went to the 382, right? I keep forgetting what these levels are. Yeah, so it went to 382 and got rejected. So maybe copper's weak. Is it still got support at 420? Yeah, but you kind of already got there. It didn't hit it exactly, but it's kind of first hit, best hit with that 20 MA in the weekly. I'd have to see something that gets me interested in it to play it at this point, but we'll keep an eye on it. But good rollover there. And then Bitcoin just can't make its mind up if it wants to be risk on with the Russell or the NASDAQ or whatever. We got a pretty decent pop earlier on and then came back in. So Bitcoin's still hanging in here. But you want to see this break 60 by, I would say, tomorrow. Otherwise, it's going to be too much consolidation here, and then I think it could potentially go lower if it wants to. It doesn't mean it has to, but it would have enough consolidation to go lower. So, all right. A lot of hated stuff rallying right now. Speaking of Bitcoin, like even like some of these Bitcoin equities are kind of holding up all right. Like MSTR, they announced a split today. Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of a change, so maybe scratch that. But yeah, a lot of stocks that have been beaten down. Like look at like a Unity Software up 8%, SoFi up 2.5%. We scalped this short today. Got a nice little trade on that in the trading room. But even ARK before that little Tesla debacle. By the way, Elon could have sneezed the wrong way and Tesla would have done this. So forget about that robo taxi stuff. I mean, like, oh, it got pushed back like a month. Who cares? Like it was up from 180 to 270 in like 9 days. Elon could have tweeted the wrong thing and it would have gone down. So I wouldn't make a big deal out of that. But like you had ARK, some of these like just hated things, regional banks, right? And obviously small caps. So I think that's the next sector to run. If we get that and breadth really improves, you could get a dash for trash. Be aware of that. But if breadth doesn't improve and it just rotates, I don't really see anything derailing this market here. Again, I don't see seller conviction right now in the tape. Market's holding up okay. That doesn't mean we won't pull back more, but not enough volume here for me to see distribution. And again, we'll look for this market to, maybe put in a little bit of a breather. And then I think believe it or not, I think we could still go higher. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will see you guys all tomorrow.